cappuccino.
Grown and non-fat, no whip mocha.
If you can follow these orders, you're probably one of the 20 million people around the globe who visit Starbucks each week.
Iced venti soy mocha.
Decaf with whip, 1 pump chocolate mocha.
It all started in 1971 when they served their first cup of coffee from this Seattle location. Today, with more than 5,600 stores worldwide, they've taken that simple cup of coffee and turned it into a $3 billion success story. Starbucks.
80% of American adults drink coffee, and more than half of us get a daily dose. Worldwide, coffee drinkers go through more than 14 billion pounds of coffee every year. But not all of the beans are destined to end up in an old-fashioned cup of joe. Gourmet coffee is increasingly becoming the drink of choice for millions. And Starbucks has helped to fuel that trend.
We're, a phenomenon. Whoever thought coffee would be as big as it is today, and whoever thought you could brand a cup of coffee, and we have. People now say, I'm going to get a Starbucks.
The name has nothing to do with coffee. It was inspired by the first mate in Herman Melville's novel, Moby Dick. Despite its worldwide reach, the company still calls Seattle home. More than 2,200 employees work at its corporate headquarters, just a few miles away from the first Starbucks store. We went behind closed doors to discover the strategy behind the success. Chairman Howard Schultz bought the company in 1987 and built the empire.
I can't tell you how many people told me that, Howard, this is the craziest idea I've ever heard in my life. It's never going to work.
One grande with cappuccino.
With whipped cream, please.
All right.
It seems obvious now, but in the 1980s, the idea of a national chain of expensive espresso bars was far from a slam dunk. And Howard's background growing up in a Brooklyn housing project didn't exactly include fussy gourmet coffee.
Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I remember fondly my mother drinking lots of instant coffee, and then when company would come over, the percolator would come out.
But he had a plan. With the help of investors, he purchased the 6 original stores, the roasting plant, and the Starbucks name for $3.8 million. His mission? Convince the world to trade in their 50-cent cup of coffee for a fancy $3 latte or cappuccino. His vision? Bring Italy's rich espresso beverages and coffeehouse culture to the United States.
When I went to Italy for the first time, I was swept away by the romance of the Italian coffee bar.
His strategy? Mass market that cozy coffeehouse experience.
That's beyond just the consumption of coffee. We have become, in a sense, this third place between home and work, where people can reconnect.
Tall no room Americano.
The concept appears to be working. Today, Starbucks is one of the most frequented retail stores in the U.S. and one of the fastest-growing takeout chains in the world. 30 countries now have Starbucks, and 3 to 4 new stores open every day. If it seems like there's a Starbucks on every block, that's not too far from the truth.
The demand was much greater than our ability to serve our customers. We started opening close together and clustering our stores. And if we didn't do it, I suspect our competitors would.
And even with 5,000 stores, Howard hopes to double the number by 2005. Millions of customers walk into a Starbucks store every day. But what they don't see is everything that goes into making those cups of cappuccino. It starts with the beans, tons of them from all over the globe. Senior Vice President Mary Williams is their buyer, and she's the last word on Starbucks coffee.
Help us understand the difference between premium coffee and the regular coffee you buy in a can. What's the difference?
The premium coffees have a much more refined, much more elegant taste, so it's absolutely a question of what it tastes like in the cup.
Her quest takes her to the jungles of South and Central America, Hawaii, Africa, and Indonesia. Most coffee farms aren't huge plantations. but small family-owned businesses with only 5 acres. And although we usually think of coffee as a bean, it's not.
I don't think everybody realizes, but it does come off the tree as
Yes.
a fruit.
Yes, it's a cherry of a small tree.
And inside there's like a pit, but it's really 2 coffee beans together. And then when you
Exactly.
take off the cherry part, which you could actually put in your mouth and it tastes kind of like a cherry.
It tastes like a cherry. They're very juicy and very, very sweet.
One tree makes just 1 pound of roasted coffee, and it takes about 4 months to get from the tree to your cup.
One of the keys to a great cup of coffee is in the roasting of the beans, and Starbucks has it down to a science. They roast, blend, and package more than 200 million pounds of coffee every year.
In Kent, Washington, about 30 minutes outside of Seattle, is their roasting plant that serves the U.S. west of the Mississippi and the Pacific Rim. Behind these closed doors is the secret to Starbucks coffee. They believe the key to their coffee is in the blending and the roasting, which they time down to the second. But the exact time or roasting curves are kept strictly confidential.
It's been a process of about 15 to 20 years of getting the roasting curves exactly as we want. Our roasting curves are proprietary. We do not talk about what the blends are made of. We'll tell you that it's Latin Americans or it's Indonesian coffees or it's African coffees, but basically we keep that a very closely guarded secret.
The beans are cooled and quickly packaged. Their goal is consistency. They want their coffee to taste the same at every Starbucks store. So they constantly check and taste test it at every step of the way. Professional coffee tasters have discerning palates and delicate taste buds. They can't taste, or cup as they call it, if they have a cold, and they're careful about what they eat.
So I don't go out to lunch and eat hot Indian food or Vietnamese food or something, because the spiciness of it will really affect your ability to taste for a little while. Alcohol does it, smoking does it.
So just like a singer would protect their vocal cords, you had to protect your taste buds.
We protect our taste buds. That's exactly right.
She'll put my taste buds to the test, teaching me how to cup.
Can we do a little tasting?
Yes, we certainly
Okay.
Of course, you don't simply drink the coffee. There's a procedure to follow.
You shake the glass a little bit, which releases the volatiles, and just
Okay.
take one big inhale. And just
Mary can tell where a coffee comes from just by the smell of it. But the bottom line is the taste. So she adds hot water to the grounds. If you drank all the coffee on this table, you'd be up for a week. So tasters have learned to, as they say, slurp and spit.
You want to slurp it in and swish it around. And then spit it out in the spittoon. Excellent. So
Just so
there
you
have
know,
it.
we do have our spittoons back here. Quite official, these spittoons.
What you're going to want to do is go through the coffees relatively quickly and just notice the differences.
This is the traditional way coffee is tasted everywhere in the world.
Very citrusy, very acidic.
Listening to Mary describe each one reminded me of a master wine taster.
Got a real fruity character. It's a very perfumey, heavy coffee. A little bit of a mushroomy character to them.
That's really strong.
That's a really strong coffee. That's very grown-up coffee. Yes, that's a
hair on your
Sinatra.
chest.
It probably will.
Starbucks testers taste more than 150,000 cups a year. My tasting took me around the world, from Latin America to Africa to Indonesia. But my favorite,
This is the winner right here.
Ethiopian Sidamo was picked by Joan Lunden.
Ethiopian, which happens to be your favorite too.
It's my favorite coffee.
So I'm doing something right here.
170 degrees.
coming up, I earned my apron as I learned to make the perfect shot of espresso.
And hope it doesn't miss my shot glasses.
At their headquarters in Seattle, Washington, behind closed doors, Starbucks has turned coffee beans into billions of dollars of revenue.
I have a grande blended caramel frappuccino.
It's the result of a carefully calculated strategy that involves a lot more than just coffee.
It's the service, it's the environment, it's the design of our stores.
In short, it's creating what they call the Starbucks experience.
So we really believe that part of the coffee experience is the fun you have at the place where you're drinking it.
Like the chairs, the
Yes.
cushy chairs, and even the color scheme, and you make sure that every single one provides the customer the same experience,
Yes.
right?
Yes, we want customers who go into our stores in Hong Kong or New York or Sydney to feel and know that they're at home.
Their style extends to their company offices. Starbucks has a surprisingly laid-back corporate culture, considering the sheer volume of caffeine available. Employee perks include 1 pound of free coffee per week.
Thank you.
And all the coffee they can drink. Espresso machines are everywhere.
I probably drink between 4 and 5 cups of coffee a day.
1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon, both double shots.
I have about 4 double tall lattes, and by noon, I'm done drinking. But after that, I usually just go right to the coffee ice cream.
Ice cream is just one of Starbucks' many products. This is a company that never misses a marketing opportunity. CDs, cups, and their own line of coffee makers add take-home merchandise to their takeout beverage business, worth more than $88 million a year.
We have coffee mints that are $2, and we have espresso machines that are $500. So anywhere in between.
There's constant pressure to come up with something new.
Caramel macchiato, Tazo berry, mocha coconut frappuccino. These are just a few of the concoctions that have originated here at Starbucks. And behind this closed door is their R&D kitchen, where coffee designers are creating today what we may be drinking tomorrow.
It looks more like a laboratory than a kitchen.
That's a little bit strong. I'm gonna try this one. I'll try that one.
This is where they invented the Frappuccino. Coffee, ice, and milk frappéd in a blender. That simple concept has become a bestseller with more than 10 different flavors and millions in revenue.
Frappuccino didn't exist up until 1995, and it's a whole business unto itself.
Their R&D team is made up of about 40 people who are paid to eat, drink, and think about ways to reinvent coffee.
And how many new products might you be testing at one time?
Gosh, you know, at any given time, we're probably testing, or at different stages of the process, 20 to 50 ideas.
Before a beverage ever reaches the public, it's taste tested. Their employees are their guinea pigs. Here, they take the ultimate coffee break, getting a chance to taste Starbucks' newest creations. Today, they're testing a new Frappuccino flavor. The drinks are made in the kitchen and pass through a small door. Employees rate the drink and describe what they like or dislike. Based on the survey results, the recipe is changed, tweaked, or tossed out altogether. Even with rigorous testing, not all of their new products succeed. Their idea for a carbonated coffee drink fizzled. Still, each customer can improvise and order their own custom drink.
There are 30 things, I guess, on the menu, but there are how many different possibilities you could actually make?
Well, we've actually calculated it once, and there's over 19,000 different combinations you can make with all of those ingredients that the baristas have at their disposal.
Barista is an Italian term for a coffee bartender who works behind the counter making espresso. Starbucks adopted the term. Behind this closed door is the International Training Center, a full-scale working mock-up of a Starbucks store.
The portafilter fits up into a piece inside.
Whenever one opens in a new market or country, their first team of employees, or partners as Starbucks calls them, is flown to Seattle to train.
What makes a good barista?
A good barista is somebody who can execute the drinks, but on the same token, they need to be not just focused on the machine, but interacting with the customers.
It's a lot more difficult than you think.
especially when you get fancy. Double shots and syrups and half decafs and different sizes and different milks. It can get complicated.
Making a cup of coffee sounds simple enough.
All right, those look good.
But as it turns out, there are a lot of rules to follow.
Try it again. Try it again. Yep.
Instructor Anne-Marie Hummel will teach me how to make a Starbucks-style cappuccino.
So when you put this apron on, you're officially a barista. Yes.
Here, timing is everything.
2 shot glasses.
All right.
The espresso shot has to pour out of the machine within 18 to 23 seconds.
In the right place?
Yep.
Here we go. Whoa.
All right. Good.
And it has to have 3 different layers.
And we've got crema, we've got our body pouring down in there.
And then the little heart at the bottom.
Exactly.
2.
You also have to use the shot within 10 seconds or toss it out and make a new one.
That's making foam.
The steamed milk has to be between 150 and 170 degrees. A thermometer ensures the exact temperature.
With lots of nice foam. Oh, look at that.
That is pretty.
I only want to know if you like it.
All right.
So there you go.
Thank you.
Don't burn yourself.
All right. Oh, it's perfect.
Are you just
Excellent.
saying that?
No.
Or does it really taste like it's supposed to taste?
You're a natural.
From the roasting, to the testing, to the tasting, and serving, Starbucks has gone from local coffee house to international corporate icon, building an empire,
Tall extra hot latte.
1 cup at a time.